about it. Come on, let's talk about it. Change up the things you see. Open your mind to possibility. Find your power, passion, and purpose. You know it's time for you to walk with greatness. Let's murder mediocrity. Play your goals, live out your dreams. Best right now. Inspirational perspective. Open your mind to a better life. It's time to live the dream. Your purpose now. Inspirational perspective. Let's slay your goals, let your greatness flow with inspirational perspective.
Good morning, Chicago. You're listening to Inspirational Perspective. I'm your host, Linal Harris, your very own life coach right here on WBON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago. And so today, I want to talk about the plan. So, Linal, okay, I heard you. I've counted my blessings, and I'm ready to take the leap, or I have taken the leap. I know exactly where I'm going. I have a vision, and I'm more than willing to take action. As a matter of fact, I've been taking action. But how do I organize the plan so I know that my action is purposeful and that I know that the energy that I'm exerting is energy that is going exactly where it needs to go? I'm operating with efficacy. Well, let's talk about that. And what I want to talk about over the span of the next 90 minutes or so is why creating a strategy separates the winners from the losers. I could spend a whole show on that one, but I'm just going to hit it lightly. And how to use emotion. This is probably the most critical part. How to use emotion to motivate future action. So how to use your emotions about your vision right now to motivate action into the future. And how to create clear, tangible measures for success and why we don't create clear, tangible measures. We'll talk about that as well. Because many of us don't create clear, tangible measures because we're afraid of failure. We don't want to fail. Fascinating to me. Because if I don't go after this, then I'll fail. I'm failing at life. And if I set a clear measure, I might fail that. I don't want to feel in any way demoralized by not hitting the mark. A lot of us are afraid of striking out, man. So we just hold the bat. We never swing. And we end up striking out anyway. Because by the way, you can hold the bat in baseball and still get struck out. Might as well swing. I believe it's the same way in life. Because you can hold the bat of life and still strike out if you don't swing. And this is why it's a must we swing. Swing for the fences. Let's revisit in many ways the ideology for the conversation, which is this whole notion of right now. And I said it before, I'm saying it again. Most of us live in the right now. Most of us live in the right now. Most of us are concerned only with right now. I understand that the future is something that is not here in the moment. However, there are actions and there are ways of being that we can take on right now that create or assist us in creating a much better future than what we have today. And so most of us, but many of us, we don't go for that. Many of us aren't even thinking about that because most of us live in the right now. And we make our decisions from right now. What feels good in this moment? Right now, somebody's waking up with a headache, with a nasty hangover. Because last night, when they were in the right now, that drink felt really good going down. And they felt really good in that moment, right? They felt tipsy. They felt happy. They felt excited. Their inhibitions were lowering. They probably felt courageous. All types of phenomenal, wonderful feelings that now they can't even remember. What they do know is that they don't feel good as they pray to the porcelain god and ask him, why? Why did I do this last night? Well, because you were focused on right now. You're only concerned with right now and not how you would feel in the morning. And this is how we live, man. And so we create our lives from right now because right now is comfortable. Unless you're suffering the consequences from yesterday's right now. So that's what we do. And how can we begin to not only inform our decisions in the moment, because I do believe it's important to be present in the moment. So not only inform our decisions in the moment, but also inform them from who it is that we intend to be in the future. A person like that would have to think about not just the right now, but also who they intend to be. And so when we think about creating a plan, our plan first and foremost comes from where it is we intend to go. And so the first question we have to ask ourselves is, am I crystal clear? Am I crystal clear on where I'm going? And I want to spend some time on that over the next 30 minutes, like getting crystal clear on where you're going. Because as a coach, one of the things I find with most people who are like, Linal, I'm having a hard time with goal setting. Linal, I'm having a hard time creating my plan. When I ask them, okay, well, tell me, what's the vision? Where are you looking to go? What are you looking to create? Or another way of saying it is, what's the goal itself? They have a hard time articulating it. And if you have a hard time articulating where you want to go, consider that it's like a GPS that's rendering. You know, you put in the address and you're waiting for it to get clear. And it's rendering. Like, okay, so you're just kind of sitting there waiting. And many of us, we think we know. I think I know where I want to go. But we haven't been as specific and as clear as we could be. And so as a result, the vision is a bit fuzzy. That creates more uncertainty, which allows more fear. And is one of the reasons many of us has false starts. We just don't get there. What most of us miss when we have a plan or we have a goal of some sort, this is critical, but most of us miss in the goal setting process two things in particular. Number one, making sure that I myself understand why. I understand why I'm choosing to make myself uncomfortable to pursue this particular plan. That's incredibly important, because if I don't know my why, then more than likely, as soon as some type of resistance shows up, I'm going to abandon the plan. And what I mean by resistance is anything that does not allow me to pursue the plan and pursue the goal easily. So the first sign of resistance, if I'm not sure on why I'm pursuing my plan, you're out of there. You've heard this before. This is old. Anybody who's, into goal setting, into planning, you've heard the why is important. But here's the big piece. Most of us think we've distinguished the why. Why do you want a new car? Well, so that way I can get from home to work much easier than riding the bus. And it's like, that seems like it's it. But if we begin to, well, why does getting to work easier matter to you? Like if we keep peeling back the onion, what you begin to realize is that there's an experience that you're looking to create in your life. And it's important that you understand that experience, but not only that you understand the experience, but that you're emotionally, this is the second part that's really important about the plan, that you're emotionally connected to that experience. All right, so why are emotions powerful in the goal setting process, in the planning process? We're emotional beings. And how resistance is going to show up for most of us is in a feeling, in feelings. Like, I don't feel like it. And so that's a feeling. And most emotions are temporary. And so I need something that is also emotive, right? That is an emotion to replace an emotion like I don't feel like it or I don't want to. Sometimes, believe it or not, exhaustion can be an emotion. You're not necessarily exhausted, but emotionally you feel exhausted or emotionally you're exhausted, right? And so that is enough to stop you from taking action. And so when you create your plan, one of the critical pieces is the ability to actually tie emotions to your plan. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Let's take my health and well-being goal. So I have what you might call a short-term health and well-being goal that is in many ways informed by a long-term vision. The long-term vision is about my overall health and vitality in life. Period. What do I want to experience in my life? And that sounds great. The problem is, it's so, God willing, so far away. Like my elderly, more mature years are so far away. So what many of us think is we say, well, I want to be healthy, and I don't want to be mature and disabled or unable to move and not able to take care of myself. And so between now and 30 years from now, I'm going to make some changes. And that, by the way, that's not a plan. That's a wish. It's not even an intention. That's you're wishing that you're hoping that you make changes because there's no plan in place. If it's not written down, consider it not a plan. Okay. So you're wishing or hoping that you change your relationship with your health in the next 30 years, before, you're a bit older. And what happens to most of us, 30 years come and go, we wake up and we're like, how did I get here? How am I in this type of physical condition? And the reason for that is we never created a why that was compelling enough, nor did we create an emotional experience that would take where we want to go and what we want to create and bring it right into the moment and compel action, like create action. And because we don't do that, we don't act. All right, so what do I mean by emotion? Well, part of how I think about my health and well-being and how I connect it to my own emotions is I think about my son. And I think about what I want to not teach him, not just teach him, but actually show him by example. There's no better teacher than by example. I think about my legacy and how he is my legacy. And that creates an emotional experience for me. I love my son, right? I also know that as he matures and gets older, I want to be able to move with him. I'm an older father than most. Most people have children, 20, 30s, etc. I was in my 40s. I'm an older father than most. And so for me, it's going to be critical that I take care of myself so I can move with him. And so I think about what life would be like 10 years from now when he's 14, 15. And we're moving together. And that creates an emotional experience. Me saying, check it up, son, check the ball up, or playing soccer, whatever it is that he enjoys, us playing those games together. And I think about that and it creates an emotional experience. In this moment, right now, it creates an emotional experience. And I also get present to what it would feel like to be in action with ease, with no pain, with him 10 years from now. And so when resistance shows up, like, man, you're tired, don't go to the gym, or, you really would like to eat that. What I can go back to remove the emotions of the moment, right, is I can go to the future vision and replace the emotion of the moment, I don't feel like it, with what it feels like to actually be in relationship with my son, working out with my son, doing those type of things, and use that emotion to take action. I go back to family because family is your first structure. I wouldn't be who I am today without the structure of the family I grew up in. I'm very aware of that. The presence of my father, the presence of my mother, the nurture of my mother, the guidance of my father, and having somebody to teach me that doesn't really matter what you feel like, and holding me accountable to that. That's the first. I mean, parents, man, we are in many ways the very first coaches, and how we coach our children, how we raise our children, have a lot to do with their success or lack thereof. And of course, once they're grown, then they got to build on that. And that's their responsibility. But as parents, we can lay a foundation that makes success much easier. But how do I go for what it is that I want and avoid some of the pitfalls and traps that are out there? For instance, if I go for health and well-being, there are a lot of businesses and people who are making money on folks who want to get healthier, but not necessarily helping them get healthier. Same thing when it comes to your finances, etc. Linal, what do I do? Okay, I want to invest, but not everybody is trustworthy. And so I know that part of what I want to do is, I know my vision, I have a plan, but as I begin to take action, I run into so much resistance. I love that Anita brought up what she brought up, because this is all part of the process. Let me be clear. Most of us, we want to get to the city of gold. Let's say the city of gold is the vision. We want to get there, and we want to, and what we want to do is get there with no resistance whatsoever. You want to go down, you want to follow the yellow brick road and run into absolutely nothing. Even Dorothy had problems, okay, on the yellow brick road. But you want to run into absolutely nothing at all. And the first sign of resistance discourages us, versus saying, wait a second, I made some progress, right? So let's use Anita's example. So she gets off beef, which is her main protein, and we need protein as human beings. That's important. And realizes that, turkey doesn't have the same protein density as beef. Turkey also has different hormones in it than beef. Like for people who have high turkey diets, they probably find themselves tired a lot, because turkey in particular has a particular hormone in it that makes you tired. That's why y'all feel like that on Thanksgiving. They thought it's just because you're full. It's not the only reason, okay? But these are things that we don't know. You might say, Linal, like people ask me all the time, like, how do you know some of these things? Man, I've been on the journey. And the journey is what creates the knowledge. And you have to find other people who have been on the journey. Like you've seen folks lose weight and get healthy. Hey, I see that you have arrived in the destination that I want to be. So can you please share with me parts of the way that you got there? Now, here's the thing. Most of us don't want to hear about the skirmishes and the fights they had on the way. We don't want to hear about that. And that's part of the problem, because that should be what you're interested in most. What battles did you have to fight? So that way you know what weapons to bring on your journey. Because you're going to have to fight a battle. And so what battles did you have to fight? That should be the question. The difference between those members, those of us who have goals and those of us who don't, those of us who have a plan and those of us who don't, we'll cover this in the next hour. The difference is that many people who don't have goals and don't have plans are living by default, which means they're on somebody else's plan. And if you're on the mainstream plan, you're in trouble, because you're buying McDonald's, you're buying You're buying liquor, you're buying fried food, you're buying pizza, you're buying very expensive clothes and bags and cars. You're doing all the things that their plan has you what is required for you to do, because that is how you're being programmed. You're operating by default. And the reason a plan is so important, we'll talk about this more in the second hour, is because it creates an intention and it gives you the plan and the intention for how it is you are going to live your life. And it takes the power from the others. And the reason the first component of being able to plan with discipline is awareness is because part of that awareness is you constantly looking at yourself and thinking about, where am I aligned and where am I not aligned? Where am I doing well? Where am I not doing well? And that's why awareness is the first part of discipline. Do you actually know where you are in alignment with your plan? How far away are you? How close are you? And this is one of the reasons why integrity is so important. Most of us think integrity is important because how it impacts other people. No, integrity is important because the more honest you are with yourself, the more transformation you can experience in your life. See, because when I'm honest with myself, I'm honest about where I am and what's going on with my plan. Okay, I created a plan, but I'm not aligned with the plan. And so because I'm not aligned with the plan, I need support, help, or I need to bring more awareness to what's got me out of alignment. That's why discipline starts with awareness. Even the plan itself starts with awareness. Then you have commitment. And see, here's the thing about commitment, especially in today's society. Most of us are, again, committed to being comfortable. And so are you really truly committed? Are you really truly committed to the plan? So let's go back to how I eat. So again, we'll be in Africa. I may not have access to steel cut oats in Africa, which means that I'm already aware that I may have to slightly separate from the plan a little bit, right? But I'm going to stay as aligned with the plan as possible. But I'm also realizing that I'll probably eat more bread than I normally eat while I'm over there. I'm already aware of those things, okay? And I'm also aware that that is a breakdown in my commitment. And so because I'm aware that there's a breakdown in my commitment, when I get back home, I immediately begin to address the breakdown. I go through cleanses. I do all types of things, right? I'm addressing the breakdown to stay aligned with the plan. So having a plan and pursuing a plan is not about perfection. As I've always said, it's not about perfection. It's about progress. The commitment is progress. And so no need to try to do it perfectly. Now, the other part of this is the three phases of self-discipline is concentration. And this is where many of us fail because we do not stay 100% focused on the plan. Anything can take us off the plan. Almost anything can take us off the plan. And so we have to get to a point where the plan that matters most in my life is the plan that I set. It's my plan. It's not Ide's plan. It's not Justin's plan. It's not even in this case, my wife's plan, right? Because if her plan for her health and well-being doesn't align, I'll tell you, I might get in trouble. But I don't always cheat when my wife cheats. I'm like, hey, I'm not on that. She like, oh, I'm going to have this. Well, you go have that. My plan ain't your plan. Okay? She like, come on, babe. Hey, man, look. Hey, have a good time. Enjoy. I'm good. I'm not doing that because I have a plan. As much as I love my wife, it's like, I'm not having that with you. And you're not going to influence me too because I'm so clear on my plan. Most of us, we lose concentration. The first blink of a flashing light that goes by. Like, oh, somebody walk in with some cookies and there goes the plan. Plan's over. Because my ability to concentrate and focus on what it is that I intend is not there. Let's go back, put the slides back up real quick, the phases of discipline. So that's the idea, right? So you have these three main things. Now, when it comes to your awareness and commitment, I was just covering this, the why. You have to know your awareness around your level of commitment comes from understanding and knowing your why. And when you know why, you're creating the plan. Your deep why. I'm not talking about a surface why, your deep why. This is why coaching is so powerful. Because a coach can help you extract the depth of your why. Because many of us are operating on surface whys. We're like, oh, I read Simon Sinek's book. I know exactly what you're talking about. I got this, but it doesn't work. Well, you don't have it then, right? This is why coaching is so helpful, because you go deep into the why, like a why that's from your soul. Your soul is how you create. So you got to get all the way down in there with your why. So that way, when hard times come, you actually hang on. You hang on because the why is so deep. If you have a plan right now that you are not in integrity with, and you believe or you think you know the why, consider that you haven't drilled the why down deep enough into your creator or creative capacity, right? Your creative capacity, your source of your creation comes from the spirit. So you got to get to the soul, man. Like the soul of your why. Because that surface why is not going to do the trick, especially in the 21st century. Too much coming at you. Every time you pick up your phone, every time you turn on the television, every time you pick up an iPad, no matter where you are, driving, billboards, there's so much coming at you in terms of information. All of those are planned derailers. And what plans require are routine. So over the break, I was sharing with the Facebook audience how my wife and I, we drink hot lemon water, like tea every morning, right? Now, you say, well, Linal, how do you not forget to do that? Well, it's a commitment that's connected with my concentration or my focus on my well-being. And so what happens is then I'm consistent with it. Like, I don't even feel right now if I don't do that. I'm consistent with it. And that consistency is what creates routine. One of the things I tell my Slayer Goals members is we have to pay attention to our routines. If for some reason my plan is not working, that means that there's something that's not aligned in my routine. So now I need to investigate and bring awareness to my routines. What are my routines? Where am I going off? You're like, man, I've been dieting for 2 years and I haven't lost a pound. Well, one, are you inspired by your plan? So you might want to, kind of get connected to the plan and like, what's the experience for your health that you're looking to create, right? So what's the emotion? We talked about that in the first hour. But then you might want to look at your routines. Some of us there's like 1 or 2 breakdowns in our routines that if we stop eating the donut at 10 o'clock at night, if we stayed out the cabinet at night, we broke that one routine, everything in our health and well-being will transform. Like, there's these little things, man, that are breaking up the plan. And so that's again where the awareness comes in. And when we think about concentration, when you look at this chart, you have on both sides consistency, and then you have habit. So building out routines that become habit is basically how this works. We're about to go into the holiday season, right around the corner, right? Fourth quarter's coming in a couple of weeks, and we're going to start to see Halloween decorations. If they're not all the way in the stores already, you're going to start to see the Halloween decorations in the stores. And then after that, Christmas. And we're going to be bombarded by messages on television And you're going to see some of these commercials every day. I want you to think about the power of this. Some of us, we're going to see the same commercial every day for almost 90 days. Like if you watch television every day, you're going to see the same commercial every day for almost 90 days. Same one. Pop, pop. You can knock off some of them. They're going to be jewelry commercials. Same jewelry commercial. Be like, make sure you get her that little diamond from, I'm not going to say the name because it already popped in your mind because you've been programmed. You've been programmed, right? Get your chocolates from, already popped in your mind because you've been programmed, right? And these are the things that you're going to be seeing. Now, think about this. If you're seeing messaging every day that has nothing to do with your plan, if you're not looking at your plan every day, what makes you think you're going to live aligned with your own plan? Like, just help me out here. Folks are trying to figure out, and what happens is you create an elaborate plan, but you don't look at it. That's why you abandoned it. Because the man has a plan, and he's hitting you every day with that plan. Every day. And you're captive. You sit and watch his commercial for 30 seconds every time. Every time. Every time. And then you wonder why all you think about is pizza at dinner. Why? I can't get it out of my mind. That's all I want. You don't understand how bad I want it. Oh my God. Or burgers. I just want a cheeseburger. Why do I want a cheeseburger so bad? That's what's getting implanted in your mind. And by the way, the reason when they like show the cheeseburger, the cheese is melting because they're giving you an emotional experience. And so if your plan doesn't have an emotional experience, you're in trouble. You lost. Most of us are losing this war. Most of us are losing this war. And here's the sad part. We're losing this war for our own mind and our own body. They have more control of your mind and your body than you do. How to create a plan? Why is creating a plan so important? Creating a plan is important because if we are truly living aligned with the Creator, we're downloading His plan into our spirit and then looking to take action aligned with that plan. I should be looking at that religiously every day, in the morning when I rise and at night before I go to sleep. Because if I'm not, in the 21st century, if you're not looking at your plan like that, you're off plan. It's that simple. And I don't have to even mention on that. Like, I already know that's just what it is. That's just what it is because that is how powerful media has become in our lives. Okay. So not only does the plan need to be clear, here, let me talk about why, because this whole notion of television and what we see on our phones is really hitting me right now. We see these things and it's so clear in vibrant color. And if you can't see your own plan, man, you're in trouble. But then after you can see it, if you're not laying out the plan in a way that it evokes an emotional experience, man, you're in trouble. Because, ladies, just correct me if I'm wrong. I know it's not every lady. But there are times when you might be moving through your Facebook feed, and then there's a pair of heels sitting right between pictures of your friends with a company name attached to it that says sponsor. And you see those heels and you have a moment. It's an emotional experience. Oh, those are gorgeous. Those are beautiful. And immediately you begin surmising and devising a plan on how you're going to acquire said shoes. Well, how did they get you? They created an emotional experience. They have a photographer who went to school specifically for taking pictures of merchandise, right? Of merchandise. They understand the science of taking pictures of merchandise. No. Turn it, not just another degree. Right there. Okay. The lights, please. They put the lights on them. The light is hitting the shoe, right? You know, like the little white part, you know, where you see the light on the shoe is at the right part. You can see the undercarriage of the shoe. It's red. Y'all know what shoes I'm talking about. I mean, and it's just like, it's perfect. You see that shoe after they've taken all that time to take that picture, and it creates an emotional experience in your body. I have to have it. And here's the deal. If you can't match that, if you can't create a plan for your life, a personal plan that matches that, you're not going to win. So we're at war. How to create a plan, this is your war strategy. It's your war strategy for taking back your life. Because many of us, let me talk about African American folks, so-called black folk for a second. Y'all don't like nobody to tell you what to do. But you're doing it. You're eating what they tell you to eat. You're treating people in your life the way they tell you to treat them. You're like, what are you talking about? Listen to the songs. You know, they got songs, don't run up on me, like all kinds of stuff. Like they're telling you how to be. But you the same folks that be like, don't tell me what to do. Like, man, get out my face. But we're letting people who don't even care about us inform our actions and our way of being. At work and at play, they got full control. When are you going to take back control? When are you going to take back control? By creating your own plans for your own life, the life that the Creator gave you. How to create a plan. She said earlier how Malcolm X talked about the power of the media. What I was talking about here, because I really want to help us here. So listen to me. Like if you're triggered a bit, like just take a breath, take a deep breath. And listen, I'm on your team. I promise I'm on your team. I'm on your team. I'm on your team. I'm on your team. So if you disagree with me a bit, we're on the same team. We got the same uniform on. Got the same uniform on. We're both trying to score points for the same basket. I promise you. Okay? All right, now. She talked about how Malcolm X, Mama D, somehow your calls get me going. I don't know what that is. But anyway, she talked about, but she brings up these phenomenal points. You know what I'm saying? We talked about Malcolm X and what he said about the media. And that the media is the most powerful entity. Let's go back to this. Because I think we don't be having a plan. We don't be having a plan. And because we don't have a plan, in the absence of a plan, we go with the media's plan. I.e., correct me if I'm wrong on this. During the Democratic primaries of 2020, Joe Biden was almost in last place at one point. Y'all wasn't voting for him. He wasn't even on your radar. Y'all didn't like him. Out of nowhere, this man makes a comeback. How did that happen? The media. They started giving him more airtime. Out of nowhere, he makes a comeback and he becomes the choice. Did you choose him or did the media choose him? Let's just go back to the Democratic primary. We don't be having a plan. And without a plan, the plan becomes a default. Now, I'm not complaining. I don't get politics and political on my show. I'm just talking about why planning is so important. You have to have a plan. You have to have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, then you end up living by default. And for the next 4 years, I believe that the agenda of African Americans is going to be on default. There's not much intention because we didn't force him to have intention. And when Ice Cube came out talking about the plan for Black America, and y'all shouldn't give them the vote. Just don't give them the vote. Y'all got mad at him. Shut up. We just need to get Trump out of office. And so they said, oh, look at them. They scared. You can get this easy. And so don't be surprised if you don't get anything for the next 4 years, because we didn't have a plan. And that's why planning is important. And I'm not taking political phone calls, so don't even call me about that. All right? It just is what it is, man. Now folks humping and humming, oh, I can't believe he just, but y'all, that was y'all book. That's your boy. That's your boy. That's your boy. Don't turn your back on your boy now. All right, anyway. And I'm on your side. We got to think about these things more critically. And see, the thing is, I remember going to the polls. This is the last thing I'm going to say about that, because I got 15 minutes to finish just showing how to create a plan. I remember going to the polls, and as I'm walking to the polls, they like, you voting for Biden? That's what the lady's saying as they pass out the little poll material. And I was like, man, no, this was the primary. This is the primary. And I'm like, why is this a slam dunk? Why is this guy slam dunk? And she couldn't even articulate it. This is what we doing. This is what we doing. It's like the media told y'all. And, a few other politicians told us, we got to do better. But when we don't have a plan, we live by default. We live by default. And the plan was get rid of Trump. That was the only plan. We didn't have a contingency plan. But what's next? So here we are. Anyway. Success is not a mistake. It's an intention. And so you cannot be successful unless you are intentional. And an intention requires planning. It requires strategy. Most of the executives I coach, one of the main things they struggle with is strategy. And this is why, it's strategy. And the reason they struggle with strategy is because what takes most of our attention is what's happening right now. Strategy requires that I slow down and dedicate time to where I intend to go. And actually take a moment of my time to focus on the future. What I say is 20% of your time should be spent strategizing or working within the strategy itself. Strategizing. The other 80% is execution. But 20% should be around the plan. I have members and clients who say, Linal, reading my goals is so hard. It's so hard to read my goals every day. It's just like, there's so much going on. And every time I say, okay, well, read your goals to me right now. I start my stopwatch. They're reading. I have yet to run into a client that they can't finish their goals in under 3 minutes. 3 minutes of their time just to get present to their own plan. It's a setup, man. We're getting set up. And if you're not strategic in today's environment, you're going to find yourself wanting, i.e., for example, end of March, going into April 2020, a lot of people got caught with the pants down. Whoa, wait, what? Everything's stopping? What? A lot of people get caught in poor financial situations because you were living right now, no strategy, no plan, nothing put up. I remember watching Facebook, looking on Facebook, man, people in the feed complaining, all the declarations of what they were going to change. I will never get caught up like this again. Oh my goodness. I remember seeing one young lady in her closet crying, going through all her fancy bags saying, these can't feed my children, because she couldn't go to work. And this can't feed my children. She had no money in the bank, nothing. This is before the stimulus plans hit. This is before PPP hit. People were distraught because they had no plan. Hey, and I'm not trying to bring comedy or bring humor to, I don't think it's funny. But What I do find interesting is how quickly we forget. How quickly we forget and how quickly we fall back into the default plan of the media. You must have a clear plan in all four pillars of your life. What are the four pillars? Your health and well-being. If you don't take full control of it, someone else will. I promise you. Guess what their plan is? They want to get your money. So they're going to get you on medicine. Make you just a little bit sick. They don't want to kill you. Because dead folks don't pay. Make you just enough sick. This is their plan. So what's your plan? They're going to make you just enough sick where you got to keep going to the pharmacy once a week, dropping all your money. And they want you to get a good 70, 75 years. They don't care about the quality of those years. But we can give them 70, 75 years, 80 years, and keep them going to the pharmacy. That's the perfect plan. And they're executing their plan to perfection because they knew the plan. And so they say, well, how do we get more people buying medicine? Well, let's buy up the food industry. Let's take control of the food. That's what Anita was talking about. And we go and we buy the food, the same food that's owned by one conglomerate. Relationship. They understand the power of family, the power of structure. And so the plan is to disrupt the family. The plan is to disrupt that structure. So look around. When was the last time you saw something in the media that encouraged marriage outside of a K's commercial? And they're not encouraging marriage, they're encouraging consumerism. Because they don't care why you give it to her. Just give it to her. It's Christmas. Do something special, right? But when's the last time you saw them highly encouraging family values, family structure? Encouraging you to push through. When's the last time you saw a 1-800 number for struggling couples? If you're struggling in your marriage, call 1-800-MARRIAGE. You don't see it. They don't care. They don't care. It's of no consequence to them. You have to have the plan. When is the last time you saw something in the media saying, if you've been dominated by commercials lately and you can't keep money in your pocket, call this number. We understand. And we want to help you save your money. Stop spending today. Call 1-800-SAVE-MORE. You're not going to see it. That's not part of the plan. It's not part of the plan. You're not going to see it. You have to take full responsibility and create your plan. You do. See, because, man, I'm telling you, I was having a conversation with my brother a couple of week ago. I'm like, look, man, we're talking about his son. I said, look, you got to start praying for your son. I'm like, we can fight the battle as fathers on one front, but we got to understand that there's a multi-dimensional front. You can fight, on one side physically, but there's so much that we can't control. You got to know how to fight spiritually. But most of us don't have a spiritual plan. How are you going to increase your spiritual health, your spiritual connection? And that might be one of the reasons why we can't get the rest of the plan together. We're so confused. We're so distracted. What's your spiritual plan? Because this is a spiritual journey in which most of us are fully consumed with the physical dimension and the physical aspects of the journey. Man, you mentioned taking a fast from food to go inward spiritually. Most people fall out. You mean not eat? For how long? Oh, Jesus, you're not gonna eat? You can't go to noon. We gotta do better. We must do better. We gotta do And here's the thing. This is all from love, man. 'Cause I love my community. I love my community. And it pains my heart to see where we're going. If we don't make some significant shifts, like yesterday, if you don't take control of your life and start creating your plan like yesterday, you've already lost. You've already lost. What's the plan? How to create the plan? Man, I'll this phone line is open every Sunday, 773-591-1690. I promise you, if you called in and said, Linal, I just need help with my plan. I can have whatever subject going. I'm going to change it and support you. That's a promise. And I've done it. But, so you got the help here. There's no excuse. But very few people call. You want to know why? Many of us are so caught up in how we feel. How I feel is very real. Somebody might recognize my name. I don't want them knowing my plan. Or I'm nervous. I get so nervous when I call. I'm so nervous that we don't get what we need. We don't get what we need. And then later, we live with regret. I don't know about you all this morning. But my plan is to follow the plan the Creator's given me for my life and for my family. Follow that plan so that way, whenever He takes me, whenever I'm laying on that bed, if I have the privilege of knowing I'm about to go, there's no regret. I can smile. I can say, I followed the plan. I stayed in alignment with the plan. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I've lived a life well lived. I've seen things that many people haven't seen. I've experienced things that many people haven't experienced. And I had a connection to the Creator that many people didn't have. Because I followed His plan for my life. That's my prayer for each and every one of you this morning.